Right, so, Varric's mirror.
Varric and his life lessons. I asked him how we were supposed to stop Solus, and he gave me this. Take a long, hard look at it, kid. It'll always show the face of a hero who can get it done.
I know something about this mirror that I haven't told anyone yet because I was sworn not to, but everything's kind of out in the open now with that article that came out about all the bullshit that EA put BioWare and stuff through, put all the Dragon Age devs and stuff through, and the people who worked on Veilguard are now no longer at EA. I'm going to tell you what I know. This whole scene with the mirror and you choosing like the gender options and stuff like that, one of the whole scenes that every hurt-feeling transphobic arsehole on the internet kicked off about, the devs didn't want in the game. This was EA's influence, not the developers. I spoke to the developers when I was in California, and they told me that all they wanted was an option in the character creator where you could choose your gender there. So if you chose like male, female, or non-binary, you could also choose if you were trans. And EA said, no, this is the best. You can have this or you can have nothing. So all of the fucking grifters, all of the fucking idiots that got so upset over this scene and then blamed the developers for it, it wasn't the developers that wanted this. They wanted an optional button in the character creator. EA said no, this was EA's doing. And I know this because a developer said it to my face when I was in California for the hands-on event. Thanks, EA! So all of the shit that the developers were getting off of all of these fucking little wet-ass bastards on the internet for this scene should have been directed at EA. But they don't care about that. It's more about the outrage that trans people were included at all. And that's where all of this fucking dishonest criticism comes from. There's criticizing a game because of things that you don't like and things that you think can be made better, and then there's just blatant transphobia. And everything that came out of this scene and the top surgery scars, everything that I went through, everything that I had to like endure as a trans person who enjoys this game when this game first came out, was all just, it wasn't criticism about a game, it was all blatant transphobia based around this choice that EA made. Now, saying that, if the devs had gotten their way and there was a button in the character creation where you could choose to be trans or not, the arseholes online still would have kicked off. Because for them, it's not about the structure of the game, it's not about how the game is implemented, it's not about the story beats of the game, it's about blatant transphobia. Which is why the top surgery scars, everybody kicked off about the top surgery scars, even though it was an optional choice that you could make for your own character. You don't have to press that button. But the fact that the button was included made transphobes shit the bed so fucking hard that people like me and the developers of this game got death threats for months purely because we supported it. Or purely because I was trans. And it's horseshit. And I genuinely think that if there is any hope for the gaming community going forward, that this kind of shit has to be shut the fuck down. Because there are so many people on the internet right now who will say one thing and do another, who will say we should all be like just enjoying the games. People are allowed to like games, people are allowed to dislike games. But then they'll go and attack people who enjoy games that they don't enjoy. They'll go and attack people and say, oh, you like a game that I don't, when really it's all thinly veiled transphobia. Sometimes it's more blatant. The absolute putrid hatred for trans people in the gaming community, for women in the gaming community, for black people in the community, for all minorities in the gaming community, has escalated to a point now where it is nigh impossible to enjoy a game without fear of being sent 1,000,000 death threats or attacked for liking a game that people have decided is too woke And the gaming community needs to really come together and start stamping this kind of shit out. Because at the end of the day, people are allowed to enjoy games you don't like. What we're not going to do is attack them for liking games that you don't like. People are allowed to like, and I've always said this on this channel. I've always said this, that you will never get shit on my channel for liking a character that I don't like. 100%. I don't support the Dragon Age community when it comes to attacking people for liking characters that you don't like. The amount of shit that Soulless Mancers get is ridiculous. The amount of shit that Blackwall Mancers get is bullshit. Even fucking Iron Bull Mancers get an awful lot of shit because people don't like certain characters. Sarah Mancers, I cannot stand Sarah, but I'll never give you shit for liking her. Same with Vivian. Vivian is a really interesting, multi-layered character that I don't like, but I appreciate that other people do. And the same can be said for games. If you play games that I don't like, I'm not going to give you shit for playing them. However, people will stand up on their fucking pedestals, on their fucking bread boxes, and scream, this game is woke, this game is crap, this game has trans people in it, this game has top surgery scars in it. And then 5 seconds later, when it's time for them to like a game that other people don't like, suddenly the same people are like, can't we just play games? Can't we just enjoy games? Pick a fucking lane. Pick a fucking lane. But yeah, this whole scene here, the devs didn't want it. All they wanted was an option, a choice in the character creator where you can choose to be trans or not. You can turn the little switch on or off. This was EA's doing. And to be honest, I don't mind that this scene is here. I remember when I saw this scene for the first time and they start using the words like trans. I feel like that is a genuine bit of criticism. Because in Inquisition, when they're talking to Krem about being trans, they use like in-game words and like words that are more like in keeping with the theme of Thedas. Like they talk about the Kunari word for being trans, whereas in this scene he just says the word trans, and that can be jarring for people. But what we're not going to do is deny that it's so rare to have trans representation that isn't just coded representation, that is blatant representation, that regardless of if it's a bit cringe or not, it is powerful that it's there in the first place. And it's nice to see that they weren't afraid when so many other companies cow down to the risk of, well, the arseholes might kick off if we include trans people. It was nice to see that they weren't afraid to include trans people and non-binary people. Could the writing have been better for both? Yes, 100%. But does it mean that that gives you the right to go and attack trans and non-binary people on the internet? No, it fucking does not. I worry for the state of the gaming community, and I hope that as more people become wise to it, and as more people start to understand that an awful lot of the people that are saying woke are doing it in bad faith, then they'll start taking them a little bit less seriously. I was a little annoyed with the wording simply because they didn't not blend it well, but writing is my job. No, that's why it bothered me as well. I agree with that statement. But again, it doesn't give you a right to go and then attack trans people and the developers for it. You know what I mean? Like, be a grown-up on the internet, please. If you don't like something, scroll the fuck on. You can debate it. You can like talk about it normally as a normal human being. Discussion is very healthy. Discussion helps. Discussion makes things better. But the second that discussion turns into vitriol attacks and death threats and fucking dogpiling on the internet, that's when it becomes really unacceptable. EA just sold out to Saudi Arabia and Trump, so I don't think EA is going to get better. EA hasn't been right for a while. EA has been waiting for an excuse to do exactly what it has done for a while. I'm more worried about Mass Effect. I think Mass Effect is going to turn into that multi-online player that EA has always wanted. We can't tolerate intolerance. Yeah, the funniest thing I ever hear from the right is, oh, this is the tolerant left. I'm like, I never said I was tolerant of bigotry. Never once have I in my entire life ever claimed that I was tolerant of transphobia. Never once in my entire life have I claimed that I was tolerant of people harassing people on the internet for being trans. Never once. I have a whole TikTok account where all I do is promote, support, and defend the trans community. No. When did I ever say I was tolerant of hate? I don't remember that. Tits or it never happened. Do you know what I mean? Mass Effect has been, yeah, it'll never recover because the fan base refuses to accept a non-Shepard protagonist and threatened to kill devs over it. Oh yeah, I know. People are just not normal about stuff like this. What I'm concerned about is that we'll get a very conservative Mass Effect where everyone is straight. You can't fuck the aliens, maybe. Or if you do, the aliens are like practically human. And all of the chuds on the internet will point at the LGBT community and say, see, told you so. And if that happens, they can have it. They can have it. So Mass Effect 1, pretty much. But there's a chance that it will be like multiplayer online as well, because that's what EA has always wanted. EA has always wanted that multiplayer online game. So we'll see. It'll be back to what Mass Effect 1 was, but live service, probably. I don't mind if it's good, but I think it will just be... I think it will be a cacophony of a load of bullshit. EA will gutter BioWare before it sells. They are a toxic ex-spouse. If they can't have them, no one can. They've already guttered it. They've already stripped practically everything away from BioWare that made BioWare what it was. The veterans that are left that are working on Mass Effect, I don't know if I trust them, but I guess we're just going to find out. The hypocrisy in... Because like one of the criticisms that the chuds on the internet had for Veilguard was that it alienated a lot of their fan base by going LGBT positive. And yet they want the LGBT taken out so that they're not alienated by alienating us. There should be a balance. There can be a balance. There is a balance. Getting rid of one, like isolating one and so that you aren't isolated is not the right way to go. There should be a balance. But they don't actually care about alienation. They don't actually care about a decent game. They just don't want LGBT representation ever. And that's hypocritical. And this is why we have to stop selling Canadian things to Americans. It never works out well. Just look at insulin and BioWare. Yeah, the insulin thing is fucking crazy, man. That poor guy selling it for $1 so that people could afford it, and now look at what the Americans are doing with it. I cannot. The American government, I apologize. It's not American people. They need it. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Take it as you will. Take it however you want. But I've been dying to get that off my chest. There's a couple of other things I'm dying to get off my chest, but I will probably get inundated with top surgery death threats. So, and that was Friday's rant. Let's watch the scene. Gender. Let's fucking go. And I'm gonna pick it because it doesn't bother me. Because I'm normal. There are other options you can pick, my guy.
Say hello, Bianca.
Thank you very much. Let's celebrate. Look, there's a back button. Do you accidentally click on this and you don't feel it? You don't like any of the options? Press the back button. You can choose scars. You can choose tattoos. You can choose none of it. You have the choice. You have the option. Be bigger than the buttons you press, my guy. Please stop shitting your pants over things that don't involve you. Like, just don't pick it. Just don't fucking pick it. I'm picking it. Let's fucking go. I'm getting there. I love who I am. Feels good to see the real me. Feels good to see the real me. Spicy Eddie is back. Let's go. I don't care anymore I've been through the absolute shit with this game. I have been through so much shit with this game. So, I'm ready to talk about it. Better than suffering in silence, am I right? Feels good to see the real me, man.
It took a while for me to figure out why the face staring back from the mirror felt wrong. But once I was able to be honest with myself, it was a relief to figure out I was trans. And it's worth it to look in the mirror today and see the man I am staring back.
I feel like that whole dialogue would have been better if the word trans had been accommodated better. I feel like it was a little bit jarring just to put the word trans in the way that it was. But I still think that that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. As a trans person, beautiful. Big up the trans community. You're all wonderful, you're loved. And I'm sorry the world can't see it right now, but they will someday. I have faith.